Hey, what's going on? I am, like I said, the last few videos I've been trying to make a video a day, just trying to make anything that just comes to my mind, just topics, subjects to talk about, and it's gonna be another football one. This is gonna be talking about the subject that's been talked about to death throughout the football world. It's the Newcastle Takeover bid from I've got it here, PCP Capital Partners, um, the Saudi-based consortium with Amanda Stavely as the figurehead of that um, takeover from Mike Ashley. Now there are many thoughts to this. There are many different layers. It's like an onion. It's got layers. Shrek reference. But anyway, it has got layers because it's very controversial to anyone other than a Newcastle fan. But even some Newcastle fans may not want this. I don't know. I don't. But I assume most do. In fact, I put a tweet up a few days ago where it was like, it's bad. Mike Ashley's been such a bad owner when a government that's known for murdering people and has a poor human rights record is taking over your club and you're jumping for joy. Um, it's crazy. Mike Ashley looking to sell the club, um, which many Newcastle fans are of course cheering for. They've been looking to get rid of him for years. I think for years he's been looking to get rid of it, but I think he wants a certain price for the club. I don't think anyone came close to it until now, and there's talks about, is it going to be the next Man City? They could be richer than the Qatar owners of Man City. But you've got or PSG. To be fair, PSG are also owned by very rich people, and they sort of overnight jumped to the top team because before it was Olympic Lyonnais, Marseille, PSG was sort of that team that was sort of there. Players like Jallet playing it week in, week out. Good players, but they weren't a top team. It'd be like if I'm trying to think. It'd be like if Marseille just got taken over by a billionaire consortium, and they just go sign fucking, I don't know, they sign Varane, they sign uh, De Bruyne. They sign all these top billionaire club type players, and the big question is Newcastle going to be like that, and is the history of the Saudi owners for the club, what's going to be worth, what is it going to be, is it going to be worth it for the club? And at the end of the day, it is. If you're a Newcastle fan, it is. But it is a massive talking point. I mean, I'm a fan of wrestling. It's similar to the shows that WWE do or did before COVID. Big bad COVID was knocking about. They were doing massive shows, $100 million shows in Saudi Arabia, and they were buying all sorts of shows. The Andy Ruiz Anthony Joshua fight in Saudi Arabia, so they're willing to spend money and splash their cash. It's it is very interesting to see what will happen to them, to Newcastle. It could be very similar to RB Leipzig, because when they got taken over by Red Bull, um, they haven't gone out and bought all the top players. They've used an infrastructure of talent to get their players. They bought players young and built them up themselves. I mean, Timo Werner, um, is a player they bought very young from Stuttgart. Didn't do very well, and he took him to one of the top players in the league. Um, uh, Sabitzer as well. He grew up with them. Forsberg, top players like that. So there's many routes that Newcastle can go down. They could just throw money at players, and you see Mbappe to Newcastle, Jan Oblak to Newcastle. But I mean, it won't happen in one season because they've also got to follow financial fair play. But it's a really weird, rare occasion where usually you go, you didn't deserve that. Like, people look at City, whether you love them or hate them, people do look at City and think you had no fan base, no heritage of quality of, the top players. You had nothing. And now all of a sudden you're at the top is unfair. Newcastle have been deserving this for years. They've been deserving this for years. They haven't won a Premier League for how massive the club is. I mean, what size is their stadium? Is it like 50,000? 50, 60,000, something like that, St James's Park. It's a massive club. The fan base, the city, the heritage, Alan Shearer, Clivert, they don't want to talk about Owen, but Michael Owen as well. Viduka, after he came from Leeds when they were a top team in the league. They deserve this. There's no doubt in my mind that they deserve this, and that's why, it will be interesting to see if they become a top Premier League title chasing club. I see them building towards mid-table the first season, which is crazy to think about. But they've got to bring those top players in. I think what they'll want to do is they'll want to bring in a top manager. So they'll want to bring in, if I was them, I'd think, right, let's get Rafa Benitez back. He had something, and he can build a defensive foundation towards the club. That he has done before, and then you chop off some of the deadwood and you keep some of the players that you'd want to keep. I'd say, I don't care about profit loss on Joel Linton. Bye. See you later. You don't work. You've not worked out. You've played how many games? You've not scored nearly enough goals. Also scored 2 goals in his career, 3 goals for Newcastle. Something ridiculously small like that, and he's near a start at every game. It's crazy. But you'd want to keep players like Lascelles. I'd keep Lascelles. He's a leader, he's a voice, and he knows what to play. If you want to get rid of him in the future, then yeah, you can do that. But he's a good foundation player. Him, Fabian Schär, and Dubravka, those 3, I'd keep. The midfield, you want to keep the Longstaff brothers, just because of their potential and how young they are and what they can grow to. Almirian, you'll want to keep Almirian. He's a quality player, but that's really it. The rest you want to shave off, and then you want to sort of use that profit margin to perhaps build the team over. But you're not going to see him get to win the title in the first season, because they can't spend that money in one season. So it's going to be a long and gradual sort of increase over years. I mean, I remember when City first got taken over, they bought Robinho in, they bought top stars in, and they weren't the top club. They just weren't. They became the top club over a number of years, building their youth development system, building their training grounds, building their team, 100 million signing after 100 million signing, which you shouldn't really do, and that's why they're not playing in the Champions League now. But that's what they needed to do to get where they are, and a top quality manager in Pep Guardiola. So you want either Rafa Benitez, or if they can get in Pochettino to build a team. I couldn't think of 2 managers who else could take that job really. Pochettino, he can take any team and build them up to a quality team. He just has that in him. He did it with Southampton. He did it with Spurs. He just knows how to build teams. And Rafa Benitez knows the club, he knows the city, he means so much to the fans, so they'll get behind him, because the one thing the Saudi owners will need is to keep the faith of the fans and make sure they don't turn. If they do that, they're done, in my opinion. But you've got to keep a core set of players, but you've got to build upon that with quality signings. Now, do you want to be buying Mbappe, buying players? No, you wouldn't. You just wank off all your money in one purchase. It's just a stupid thing. I would be using my money wisely and building the infrastructure of the club. So I'd be right. Let's get all the staff gone. Let's get new staff. Let's get the top scouts. Let's get the top coaching staff. Let's get built around the manager, what he wants. Let's get let's build the prestige of our club. Maybe get a new look in to the club. Maybe get a new a shirt sponsor or whatever, or maybe just something new, something to add to the regime. But I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't do what Mike Ashley did and try and turn St James Park into the Sports Direct Arena. That shit was foul. I don't think they should be changing their kit in any way, in terms of black and white diagonal or anything stupid, or change the badge. Just keep the heritage, because it's already there. That's what you want your infrastructure. That's what you want. That's what you want your club structured around, and you want to add little bits of flair to it. And you want to add good players, good solid Premier League players. You want to add, if they're available, John McGinn. He'd be an amazing signing for Newcastle, John McGinn. You want to have players if you want to keep Lascelles and Shah and Dubravka, you want some midfielders, or a striker. If you want a striker, you can go out and think, right, who's one of the top scorers in the leagues right now. I'm trying to think of any, and I'm drawing Ben Yedder. Ben Yedder, let's get Ben Yedder. He's scoring lots of goals right now, and you want players like that. You don't want to spank it off in one purchase. You'd want to build a squad and then add quality players to that squad, and eventually, the core squad will get better. You'll add players onto that, and then your all-round squad will just be decent with added quality, and then it will be quality with a decent backlog of players. And you want to get rid of as harsh to say, your Dummets, your Joel Lintons, your Atsus, all these players that just aren't going to cut it anymore. It's a new era. It's a new era at Newcastle. It's very interesting. It looks like it's going to be around 300 to 400 million pound purchase of the club, which to them is chump change. Literally, that's what they spend on a kebab. That's should we splash out on a kebab? That's 300 million. Yeah, but it's made of fucking gold. That's the type of shit you're looking at with these hustle motherfuckers. So that's the thing. That's what I would do. That's how I would build it. But you never know how they're going to build it. They could be similar to QPR, where QPR hasn't had a chance to build upon anything and they've just done shit. And now they've got the richest owners in England, and now they do fuck all with it. And then you think, what's the point? It's all right to have rich owners, but if you're not doing anything with it, what's the point? So it all depends on how they run it, how serious they are in running it. If it's just a little toy they want to play with, or if they're really serious about it, there's not much they can get wrong. If they're really serious about it, with the advice of the right people, with the right footballing minds. I saw who was it? I can't remember who I heard it from, But the idea of Alan Shearer as a director of football at Newcastle, brilliant. That'd be amazing. I couldn't think of anyone better than Alan Shearer, because he knows Newcastle, he knows the fans, he knows the football what it means to them. He'll know what it means to be a Newcastle player. Um, so he'd be quality in that regard. But yeah, fun. It's fun for me as a United fan thinking about another top team, and that probably sounds crazy, but I'm a big fan of the Premier League. I want it to do well. We've been really struggling recently with City not being in the Champions League anymore. Liverpool have been a top team. They've been carrying the torch for us, but Man United have not been doing great. Arsenal have been doing dreadful. Chelsea haven't been Chelsea. They've done alright, but they've not been Chelsea. Spurs, that they're doing a Spurs. Everton, just they're rich. They're owned by rich owners, but they're doing fuck all. Actually, you know what? I take that back. They've got Ancelotti, which was quality, and I'm enjoying seeing what he's doing with that. But at the moment they're not doing anything, and I want to see a window where they get Ancelotti's players. But that's what they're at right now. And you're seeing teams like Sheffield United and Wolves, get European places where if you look, I mean Wolves, yeah, but Sheffield United shouldn't be going anywhere near. That they should be a mid to low table club, but they're so good defensively. The top teams can't handle them, and they shouldn't. The top teams should be deconstructing them. Every team should look like Liverpool's attack, where they're just impossible to deal with, because that's what the type of money they spend. That's what they should be getting with their money, and that's what their team should look like. You look at back in the day when it was, when it was Chelsea versus Man United. You had Drogba, Essien, Cole, Terry, Cech, Ivanovic, fuck me. You had all these Damien Duff, all these top quality players for Chelsea, and then you played Man United, and you had Rooney, you had Scholes, you had Giggs, you had you had Rooney, Ronaldo, Van der Sar, Vidic, Ferdinand, just absolute giants that would just battle out. Sheffield United wouldn't have done that, done what they do this season to Man United or Chelsea. They wouldn't. They wouldn't do that, because they were just too much quality, and that's what brings me back to Newcastle. They need to look at the structure that City have taken, but do it better and do it cleaner. They want to look at Liverpool, what they've done. I mean, look at what Liverpool have done. You think to the beginning of it, they get a manager who's gone to a Champions League final with an alright team in Dortmund. Well, actually not an alright team, it was a quality team at the time, but an alright club. Dortmund aren't going anywhere near the finals nowadays, and they have Sancho and Haaland. They weren't going anywhere near the Champions League final, but they were back then against Bayern Munich. He may have lost the final, but he went to the final with Dortmund. And you'll look at that and you want to think, similar type of stories, Eric Ten Hag at Ajax. So you think maybe you get Eric Ten Hag and you build around him, or someone like that, or a Rafa Benitez, or you just get a good manager, you get a good staff, and then if you get good staff and you spend the money, the players will come. The good players will come if you have the right minds around the club. But you can't just buy shit for the sake of it. You don't want to be Man United when you're buying, I don't know, you're buying Sanchez At the time, it made sense, but the wages, we should never have paid those wages, because even if he turned out to be shit, and we should have had foresight to go, right, he will most likely be a success, but what if he isn't? And now we're in that situation with him. We should have a contingency plan, and not worry about the marketing, because the marketing of Sanchez, if he worked out, would be amazing. But now who's buying an Alexis Sanchez shirt? No one. Absolutely no one. So Newcastle need to think of it as in a footballing sense, and the money will come in anyway. So success will bring in money for the club, which I don't think money would be their main concern, because why would they need to worry about making money from Newcastle? They just wouldn't buy the club. But like I say, I hope it goes through for English football's sake. We're in a big rivalry with Spain at the moment, in my opinion. But even Madrid and Barcelona haven't been Madrid and Barcelona lately, so no one's anyone at the moment. It's all gone to pot. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Let's say you had 150 million, and you let's say, right, you've just been bought by Saudi owners. You're in the boardroom. Amanda Staveley's there. The Saudi-backed owners are there. You are the, let's say, chief scout, or the chief of director of football, where you're bringing in transfers. If you had 150 million, who would you bring in? Would you bring in Mbappe, or would you bring in like 10 quality names? Well, actually, would it be 10? It's like 20 million player. Let's say you bring in 5 top names. That's like 40 million a player, or 30 or 20, 30 and a 70 million or whatever. Who would you bring in? I think if I had 150 million, roughly guessing on people's prices, I'd want to get in a striker, a goal scorer. I was struggling about this earlier, because I couldn't think of anyone who was scoring goals. Who's I'm trying to think. Bundesliga, La Liga. Man, it's difficult. It's difficult to think of players that have been playing really well. But basically, I'd look at a striker, 2 midfielders. What wingers have they got? And a couple wingers. Oh, a player who I would consider if they could get in the right price, just Justin Kluivert, because that makes sense in a footballing sense, because he's so young and he's got so much room to grow, and he's a top quality talent. And also, his dad played for Newcastle, Patrick Kluivert, so there's also history there, so it makes sense on a multiple levels. If you get him for like 30-40 million, you'd be laughing, but I don't know if you could get him for that. Anything over 40, I'll probably turn my nose up at it, but you never know. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for now for the Newcastle Takeover debate. But yeah, I'm excited. I hope it goes through for English football. Yeah. If they do get taken over in the first season, put down in the comments. So put down in the comments, if you're watching, who you'd buy for 150 million. And then sort of put a guess of the player and what price you'd think they cost, and then round it up to 150 million or whatever. and that's just for players. It doesn't count the infrastructure of the club. That can be built on just the club's funds itself. And also, with their, if they got bought and they had City money and they had 150 million to spend, I'm only guessing that because I'm guessing that's how much you could spend on players compared to how much the club earns. So 150 million, with that, with the players they could get, where do you think they could finish? Where do you think they'll finish in the first season? So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in a video tomorrow, which I'm not sure of what it is right now, but I'm gonna guess. I don't know. Heavyweight boxing. Who knows? Anyway, I'll see you later. Bye.